LIKACI brand diesel air car parking heater. Says it's got rapid heating functions, low fuel consumption, low noise, safe and stable, simple installations, and complete accessories. Here is everything that came in the box. Some kind of console here. It's for the diesel fuel. I picked up some diesel fuel today too. I knew I was going to do the review on this. Tank's right there. You can look through here and check your fuel level. That's kind of nice. A couple of connectors back here. Okay, if you flip it over, that's kind of nice. It says air intake there and exhaust port there. As far as the other items that came in the box, got some conduit here. Looks like a powder coated aluminum. Some electrical connections with some hose clamps. It's like some kind of a vent cover. And this, and a pair of gloves. And of course the directions. Here's the warning label on there. It does say don't use the heater in closed or non-ventilated places. So you want to make sure you use this where there's plenty of ventilation. So here's a rundown of this thing. This is where the air is going to come out, the hot air. So whatever you're plumbing this to, this is what it's going to feed into your space. And then underneath this thing, so back here, this is just a fan. This is where you're going to hook the cables up to your battery. That's where the diesel fuel goes. If you take this thing and flip it on its side, here you've got air intake and exhaust port too. And so we're going to have to get this thing up off the ground because this exhaust port comes out. You can see you have a little bit of clearance here, but the tube will come out and it'll burn whatever you're setting this thing on. So we're gonna get this thing up off the ground a little bit. Got a 2x4 here. I'm gonna cut this in half and use it for the stand for this thing. And this is your control panel right here. It comes with a remote as well. This thing slides up or down, on, off, up or down. I'll show you how this works once we get it set up. This one here's the exhaust. This is the air intake. Go ahead and put them on there. Now you notice what I had to do to tighten this hose clamp up is come down through this little slot there. Okay, I got these pieces on now. Now one thing you'll notice here, this piece is probably going to get hot. And so what you're going to want to do is have some kind of lifter, especially if you have a wood base, something to keep that off the deck there so you don't get a fire. Okay, now we have a little air filter for the intake as well, so it's just going to hose clamp right on there. Okay, then if you want to use this muffler, it goes right on here. Comes with some self-tapping screws as well. And some brackets to hold it up, and a bracket to hold it. This is where your hot air is going to get blown through. So you might want to use something, if you're worried about heat loss through this thing, for long runs, you might want to use some insulated ducting here. For now, I'm just going to use what came with the kit. It just goes right on here with the hose clamp. All right, now that we've gotten this far, the next step is to hook it up to a battery. So I'm gonna hook it up to the truck battery. All right, I got my wires here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a couple of these on the red and the black. I'm gonna hook the wires up to this. Red to red, black to black. Put the washer over that. Got this thing hooked up to the battery now. I notice as soon as I made the battery connection, this came on down here. So next thing I'm going to do though, before I fire this up, is fill it with some diesel here. Okay, got the diesel all filled up. Let's go ahead and turn this thing on. There's the power button right here. Okay, what I did is I came over here and held this power button down, and you can see now on the display that fan's moving. I've got air coming out of here right now. It's a sweet little unit, lightweight too. One thing to notice here, you can see your fuel level on the side as well. Now the thing sounds like it's firing up. Oh yeah, got some hot air coming out of there. Got some smoke coming out of there, some exhaust. So you're definitely gonna want to keep this thing vented. That air out of here is starting to warm up. And I'm bumping it up. After it kicked on, it allowed me to adjust this really easy. See how hot this thing will get. Yep, as I ramp it up, puts more demand on it, and you can definitely hear things start to kick up. And I'm getting some warm air out of here. Oh, that's nice. It's humming now. Okay, looks like it's at its about its highest setting. And again, you can use the remote. This is definitely warm here though. Ooh, that's hot. Super hot exhaust. I'm way back here. I can feel the heat coming out of that thing. Very, very warm coming out of here. A lot of airflow. Great little unit. Let's go ahead and shut this off. Hold this down. There we go. Okay, there's a lot of different options to use this thing with. You know, right now I'm using it for off of a truck battery, but I want you to know that, you know, you could use this for a tent. Obviously, this would have to sit outside your tent or outside your structure. It does put off a fair amount of fumes, and so you definitely want this thing 100%, no questions, no compromise there. You want this thing out of the area, vented out of the area that you're going to be pushing your heat into. So, you know, if you're going to heat up a garage, put this outside your garage and plumb this part in there. Same thing with a tent, RV, trailer, truck, anything you're going to use. You're going to want this unit outside. Otherwise, or, you know, properly get your intake and your exhaust outside. The important thing is that the exhaust vents out of the space that you're wanting to warm up. But great for shops, sheds, you name it. So many different options with this. But you're definitely going to need a battery to operate it and some diesel fuel. You know, the remote's great. Let's say you're ice fishing and you use this thing for your ice fishing shack. You can leave this outside, got the heat plumbed in. You can just sit there with your remote and ramp it up or down, shut it off or on. Get too hot, turn it off. Last thing I want to mention, you know, if you're going to permanently put this someplace, has a little cover here. You can put this on with a hose clamp as well.